Bank of Nigeria has ordered banks and payment service providers to accept indemnity from customers for early secured online funds transfers. This was stated by the Director of Payment System Management Department, Musa Jimoh. He said banks should accept indemnity from customers for highly secured online funds transfer above 1 million naira for individual and 10 million naira for corporate, subject to a maximum of 25 million naira for individual and 250 million naira for corporate. He also added that they should provide customers with the option of electronic or paper indemnity based on the customer's preference. Mr. Jimoh urged the banks to adhere to multiple highly secured online funds transfer. Governor Adegboyega has reiterated that his administration will continue to strive towards ensuring the overall welfare of workers and pensioners, as well as meeting the yearnings and aspirations of the people across the state. The governor gave the assurance at the state government secretariat while presenting bond certificates to the retirees across government parastatals. Governor's office correspondent Sonya Onarinde files in the details.
Addressing the pensioners at the local government commission multipurpose hall, the state secretariat at Bere, Governor Adegboyega Oyetola disclosed that his administration is relentless in ensuring the overall welfare of workers and pensioners in the state of Osun. Describing the occasion as 3-in-1 epoch-making ceremony, Governor Oyetola disclosed that over 1 billion naira is being presented to 162 retirees across the government's parastatals, adding that his administration would continue to strive in making life bearable for the citizenry, as well as meeting the yearnings and aspirations of the people across the state.
Today, a total of 1,456,344,000 naira is being released as bond to 162 retirees, comprising school teachers, primary school teachers, local government staff, and those in the core civil service, starters, and tertiary institutions. Out of this amount, the sum of 656,304,000 naira is meant for 23 retirees from local government service and primary schools, while the sum of 500 million naira is meant for 69 retirees from the core civil service, starters, and tertiary institutions.
The State Commissioner of Education, Honorable Oladoyin Bamishaye, expressed delight that the state remained the only state in the country that has implemented the presentation of bronze certificate for the retirees, adding that Governor Oyetola has transformed education creditably and lifting the profile of education onto a lofty height, just as the head of service, Dr. Olowogoyega Oyebade, reiterated the commitment of the workers and pensioners towards supporting the administration of Governor Adegboyega Oyetola, stressing that a good turn deserves another. In their goodwill messages, Comrade Kayode Aliu, Comrade Jacob Adekomi, Comrade Kabiru Adekomi, Comrade Olasegun Lano lauded Governor Adegboyega Oyetola for prioritizing the overall welfare of workers and pensioners since assuming the mantle of leadership in the state of Osun, stressing that workers and pensioners would sincerely reciprocate the good gesture in ensuring continuation of good governance under the leadership of Governor Adegboyega Oyetola. Also in attendance at the presentation of bronze certificates to the retirees were the wife of the governor, Mrs. Kafayat Oyetola, the deputy governor, Mr. Benedict Alabi, the secretary to the state government, Prince Wole Oyebamiji, the chief of staff to the governor, Dr. Charles Akinola, Senator Ajibola Bashir, members of the state executive council, members of the state house of assembly, members of the national assembly, as well as the leadership of the All Progressive Congress from across the state. The ceremony featured the official takeoff of the 65 years retirement age for the teachers in the state of Osun, presentation of bronze certificate to the retirees by Governor Adegboyega Oyetola, as well as some dancing moments. Saya Onorinde, reporting from the governor's office.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities has expressed optimism about its ongoing meeting with the Professor Nini Briggs Committee, describing the negotiation as being progressive. Speaking in an interview with Newsmen, the national president of ASUU, Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke, said the union had been negotiating with the Briggs Committee since last week over its demands. ASUU commenced its ongoing strike in February after the federal government failed to meet some of its demands, including the release of revitalization funds for universities, renegotiation of the 2009 agreement, release of earned allowances for university lecturers, and the deployment of the University Transparency and Accountability Solution. Meanwhile, the Federal Ministry of Education has received the report of the 21 white paper drafting panels, which were constituted in March for tertiary institutions across the country. Despite the federal government's achievement of the significant progress in the last 3 years in the fight against tuberculosis, Nigeria still records 200,000 new infections yearly. Noting that these new cases are yet to be detected and enrolled for treatment, Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ihanire, who spoke at the launch of the Compendium of Tuberculosis Best Practices by the National Tuberculosis, Brulee Ulcer, and Leprosy Control Program in Abuja, stressed the need for government to step up commitment and invest strategically across the board to improve best practices. Dr. Ihanire observed that at the peak of the COVID-19 outbreak in 2020, there was 18% drop in the number of TB cases diagnosed and notified globally, from 7.1 million in 2019 to 5.8 million in 2020. He added that during the period, fatalities increased considerably due to reduced attention to the treatment of patients. He said Nigeria, as with many other nations, suffered the impact of COVID-19 with negative socio-economic trends and health service disruptions following the introduction of lockdowns in the second quarter of 2020. The minister submitted that TB testing was reduced by about 30%, resulting in 17% decrease in case finding and notification. He also acknowledged that implementation of innovative strategic interventions put in place by tuberculosis program managers, including integration of TB control into COVID-19 response measures. And on sports, Super Eagles head coach Jose Peseiro has praised his players for an improved performance, despite losing to Ecuador in the second friendly game in the United States. Ecuador ran out 1-0 winners thanks to a third-minute goal by Villarreal left-back Pervis Estupina, taking advantage of poor defending by the Eagles' backline to head home a set piece. But the Eagles came out more purposeful and buzzed the remainder of the game, but failed to convert some decent scoring chances. Speaking after his second defeat since taking charge, Peseiro praised his players for the improvement shown after the Mexico game. The Portuguese went on to question the referee's decision not to award the Eagles a penalty in the first half. The coach said the second half was much better, but it is not easy to put pressure for 90 minutes. He added that the goalkeeper touched the foot of the striker, but anybody can make mistake, as players can commit mistake also. Up next for Peseiro and his team is the 2023 AFCON qualifiers against Sierra Leone and Mauritius. And on the foreign scene, the World Health Organization has said deaths on the African continent from COVID-19 are expected to fall by nearly 94% in 2022 compared to last year. The WHO said the gulf in the numbers is due to increased vaccination, improved pandemic response, and natural immunity from prior infections. It also stated that as of the end of last month, Africa had reported over 11.8 million confirmed COVID-19 cases and more than 250,000 deaths since the pandemic began. According to data from the WHO Africa's office, which will publish more details of its modeling later in the day, the World Health Organization analysis found out that richer countries and Southern African nations have had around double the mortality rates of poorer ones in other parts of Africa, partly due to comorbidities that increase the risk of death. According to the analysis, about 23,000 deaths are expected by the end of the year, provided current variants and transmission patterns remain the same. And that ends the midday news on OSBC TV. It was edited by Tunde Olatito. Please join us at 3 for the state news. Good afternoon.